Ralph Hasenhüttl apologised to the Southampton fans. He called it a no performance. How bad was it?
Shocking. I actually, in some ways, I think I mentioned it through the second half, I actually felt sorry for him in some ways. I was a little bit critical in the first half. I thought he should have changed the system and come away from that, the three at the back. But really, once the goals were flying in, forget systems, forget the red card. Talk about a no performing. It was shocking. And in some ways, he's actually speaking tonight, and it's not the time now. Because what he doesn't want to do is he doesn't want to come across as someone who's blaming the players and not taking responsibility. And somebody said, I'm taking all responsibility. Take the responsibility off the manager. Listen, the manager can stand or fall by results. But there's no way a 9-0 and the way they perform there, I'm going to point the finger at that manager. Some of those players there were a disgrace, really. And people think about the extra man in football. What it does, the extra man, it means it's very difficult to go and win a game. It doesn't mean you can't stop the opposition winning a game. Now, I know it was 1-0 at the time, but there's no way that should not just finish 3-0. We've been there ourselves. We've had the extra man. We've been down to 10 men. It happens a lot in the Premier League, but you don't see 9-0. And even at the start of the second half, Jamie Vardy had another good chance. And you're thinking, what is this backbone in this team? I mean, absolutely disgraceful performance. That, I think, will reverberate around the Premier League. But also, that's one of the worst in Premier League history, not just for Southampton, that probably any of us have ever seen.
Gary?
I said before the game, they were displaying characteristics of a team that you would really worry about. They just look naive, and they look like they're well coached, and they've got a system of play. But it's a system of play, I think, that if you're not good at it, you'll just get beat badly. And I think that you see some teams who've got a bit more resilience, a lot more resilience to them. They're more solid, they're more rigid. They sort of would cope better with losing a man or even going down in a game. You look at Southampton, and it looks so fragile. And you look at some of the young players that are in that team, and I don't even want to mention them because I think, like Jamie said, sometimes it's just really difficult when you watch a game. We're here to mention and identify players, but there are a couple of young players out on that pitch tonight that will need taking out after that game, who have made really poor mistakes. But there were also experienced players in the centre of defence that made really poor errors, and there was no excuse for some of them. There's some real high quality from Leicester. Some of those goals were just top class, and they would have conceded, but really poor. I felt for them. I always think it's a worry, and I think looking at it from a director's box point of view, and we're watching up there, when the stadium's empty. We saw it at Sunderland, didn't we, for sort of a period when they were sort of losing badly. And these fans here, I've always thought of them as being really friendly fans and fans that would always stay with the team. But tonight, they were booing them at half-time, they were booing them at the end. Most of them left. It was a terrible night anyway. But the stadium must have had 5,000-6,000 people in at the end. And that would be a real worry. I think that he needs to almost give them, I don't know, a couple of days away just to sort of get away. I think Jamie mentioned it in commentary, a really poor defeat in Spain when I was a manager. And it was tough to recover mentally because how do you pick people? What do you say? Let's go again, lads.